Thank you, Mr. Tischer. We're here to talk about my lesson for Standard 5, which was a one-day project to make a poster demonstrating slavery in Libya. And there was a hearing about it at the United Nations. So pretend like you were at the United Nations and have a poster ready.
Yeah. First thing, I know one of the things that we were trying to focus on is application to real world problems, and this was a great example of connection to a real world problem. The students can definitely they can see why that's important. They can see how it could relate to them. That this could happen to them. We see all the time the articles in the paper, on the TV, or on the internet about teenagers getting snatched up and put into slavery. So whether you're talking to somebody from Libya being put into slavery, or somebody from San Diego or wherever, this is a real world problem that these kids can definitely identify with. I mean, I've never asked any of them if they know anybody, but I mean, there's a good chance that they might even know somebody that this has happened to. So hopefully not, but the point is, excellent example of something they could relate to as far as a real world problem. So that was really good. You introduced the article and the topic, at the very beginning. There wasn't any lag time, so that was good. There wasn't any, messing around. You just got right to it. You brought up the video, so you used that digital resource, bringing in the technology, where you showed them up on the big screen, some video that had to do with the story. You had Philip read the title of the video, so you got the student involved right away with that by having Philip read about that. You did a good job of clarifying. They were a little confused about something about immigrants and migrants, and you clarified the difference between an immigrant and a migrant because they were a little confused. A few of them were, at least, and you did that really well. Then you had to go over to the map, and you showed them some areas where people migrate from. You had them look at Libya, and you had them point out some areas where people ended up trying to go and how they might get caught somewhere along the way. So every kid went up to the map, which was good. They did it without complaining. So that tells me that they liked the lesson enough to go up there and without you having to come on. They did it right away. So that's good because a lot of times they don't want to participate. So right there, that's a good sign. Let's see. After that, you explained that after reading the article you guys were going to read, that you guys were going to go ahead and create a poster that talks about stopping or ending slavery. So you introduced that as the main part of the lesson that you were going to do. You had Robert read out loud at that point something from the board, and after he got done, you said, "Awesome job." So that was good. You gave him that positive feedback. And I have to say, overall, you're really good at involving students a lot in your activities. Like, there's a saying that teachers say. I know when I was going through my stuff with my student teaching, they're like, "Don't be a sage on the stage." The old thing where the teacher sits there talking to the kids for an hour straight, and the kids don't talk, the kids don't interact, the kids don't have any. It's just this teacher just sitting there lecturing away, which, I'm sure there's some people out there that might do that, but I think it's good that you always involve the kids pretty well, and I think that's a strength of yours right there. You did use the big board to enlarge the reading, so that was a good use of technology. Jason, after Robert read, then Jason read out loud, which is, it's good that, he's a kid that he's not the greatest reader, but surprisingly, he always reads, whether it's for me or you. He feels comfortable enough with us
to make the effort. Nice
to do it, even though he messes up, and he keeps going, and he's pretty resilient.
Yeah, because other kids who are better readers will be less inclined.
Yeah, so I think that's a credit, to us that he feels comfortable in him. You referred to their journals, so that was a good reconnection to always refer back to their journals, what they wrote in there earlier, so they don't just think that, oh, what's this journal for? Why am I doing it? It's good that you referred back to it in reference to saying, the journal stuff we did earlier is going to relate to what you're doing on your poster, and you said that the posters were 20 points, which you did mention it was worth 20 points, but we talked earlier about, I think if you gave them a little more specifics on, not like a full-on detailed rubric, but a very basic rubric of what, maybe 20 points is versus 16 or 12 or whatever points. Just a basic rubric. Some rubrics you need to be really intricate, but this was a basic enough activity that, you didn't want it to be, really, really difficult, but you wanted to at least give them maybe a little more idea of what they need to earn a 20. And you brought up, there was a connection we were trying to make with a lady in Virginia, a video you brought up talking about integration when she was younger into a white school, and how they were saying that, you tried to, they said to her, she said that they tried to convince her to do it because she would be making it better for kids in the future if she did this now, even though it might be tough for her getting like I think you said cigarettes thrown at you or something like that, and being, having people mess with you when she was integrated. It might be bad for her and rough for her, but it would be better for kids in the future that she went ahead and she was one of these first 5 or 6 kids that was integrated at the school. So that was, you're trying to make the connection right there with the whole thing about slavery. So, civil rights and slavery. So I think it was good to try and make that connection, but for me watching it, it was hard for me to recognize that connection right away. So I think if you let the kids know, like, I think the video was interesting, and I don't think that kids even necessarily felt like I did, where like I was a little confused at first about the video, why it was being included. But after talking with you, I understand why it was included. But I think if you were to do this lesson again, I would make sure the kids are clear on exactly what the connection is between why you're showing this video with the slavery thing, so that they understand that stronger connection, because there is a good connection there, but I didn't quite know what that was right away. Because I thought the activity, the lesson was strictly on Libyan slavery. So when you brought in that was like, oh, what's this part? So as long as you clarify that, I think that would help. One thing I would say, there was only one time I think in this whole lesson where one time I can say for sure where I definitely would have addressed something you didn't address, when you asked Robert, or when you asked the kids, hey, could you have done what that lady did? Could you have been that person going to that school and being integrated? Robert said, oh, I'd slap the shit out of them if they did that. So, and I don't think you heard it, but he said it.
No, I said it was like a brain freeze. Like, what do I respond to that? So hearing what you would respond to that would be good.
Yeah, and just be like, hey, Robert, I appreciate your, I know what you're saying, and I'm not saying I disagree, but try to find a different way to say it, something like that. Okay. Because it's good, it's okay that you felt that way. You just needed to not say it the way you said it. Let's see here. You showed this when you got to the poster part. You showed him some samples up on the screen, so that was good. You brought up some samples of what their posters could look like stylistically and layout wise and all that. So that was good for them to look at. And then the kids went ahead and started working on the posters, and you told Jason. Jason said, "Hey, how's mine? Is it good? Is it done?" And you said, "Yeah, good job. You did a good job on that." And you said, "I saw you working hard, and I will give you credit." And the way I took that is, it may not have been the most perfect looking, looks wise and all that, but you saw Jason at his desk working hard enough that he may not be the most artistic kid and the most creative kid, but he worked really hard on it. So you said, I'll give you a lot of the points because I saw you working hard. And that's totally, I do the same thing. And I think that's a great thing to do, because I'm not an artistic person. And I know, like, when I have the kids do maps, some of the kids are like, I can't draw, I'm bad at maps. And I say, hey, either am I, I know what you're saying. And if I see you working hard and I see you put all the names on your map and all the colors, I'm going to give you most of the credit because you're working hard, whether you're a great artist or not. I think that's how I took what you said to Jason, that, you rewarded his hard work by saying, I'm going to give you the credit, even though, it may not look perfect. You still worked hard. So
I think especially where it's a cross-disciplinary kind of thing, where you're bringing an art to a history class. Yeah. So yeah. The effort, I like grading effort, and kids knowing that if they put in the effort for things like that. I mean, you can't necessarily do that on a test, for when you're testing historical knowledge, you're trying to fit this core of the curriculum. Yeah, no, for sure. And that reminds me of one of the things I know is, trying to have interdisciplinary themes, and you did a good job with that. This was a lesson where you hit on some global awareness, because a lot of times kids are not, especially these kids, they're not aware of much beyond their neighborhood. Some of them are much aware beyond like their street or their neighborhood. Maybe they know about parts of San Diego, but there's tons of parts of San Diego they don't know anything about. They don't know about the East County, and they don't know about North County. And, for you to like
go way beyond just not just San Diego or California or the U.S. You went all the way all the way over to Libya. So that was really good with the global awareness for interdisciplinary. And you brought in the art, so it wasn't just history. They obviously did some reading. So you got a couple different, activities, a couple different subjects going together, and it wasn't just straight history. You found a way to incorporate some of those other things as well. Yeah, I think that's about it. That's what happened.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it.